Hi everyone, this is long, but I really need some perspective. A little about me. I'm Latina, living overseas in Australia, and my partner is Australian. That already brings cultural differences, but I grew up traveling, speaking multiple languages, and I carry strong Latina values. Family, love, community. I've always dreamed of having a family of my own, but love hasn't been easy. I went through a domestic abuse relationship in my mid-20s that left me traumatized and closed off for years. On top of that, I struggled financially, battled depression and anxiety, and had to fight hard through the immigration system just to be where I am today. The amount of resilience you've built is remarkable. You've had to fight for your safety, your peace, and your place in the world. And it's okay to want something stable and meaningful now. But remember, that same strength can also help you walk away if something isn't aligned with your long-term values. This year, things finally started turning around. I lost the weight I had gained from years of depression. I feel good in my job, and I finally felt ready to open my heart again. Meeting him. I joined a dating app without high expectations. I met him 33M, and from the first date, it just clicked. We had an instant connection, like we had known each other for years. We even talked about kids, marriage, and life goals on that first date, and everything seemed to align. Coincidentally, he was already learning Spanish and taking salsa classes. He's also close to his family, though his dad sadly passed away 2 years ago, and I loved that about him. He told me about his grief, and how he was traveling the world to see places his dad once visited. 3 weeks in, he went to Europe for a pre-planned trip. We agreed not to rush into labels. When he came back, we continued dating until he asked to be exclusive. I thought that meant serious but not yet boyfriend/girlfriend, but for him it already meant boyfriend to girlfriend. Men and their clarity, right? We've now been together 7 months. The beginning sounds magical, but sometimes strong chemistry can give us a sense of certainty that isn't always grounded in long-term compatibility. That's not a bad thing, but it's worth slowing down emotionally, even when everything feels right. Chemistry is not the same as shared values. The anxiety and therapy. Not long after, he sent me a long text saying he was struggling with anxiety and had started therapy. He said it wasn't about me, but about his grief for his dad and unresolved feelings from a previous 7-year relationship that went nowhere. We had a long conversation. I asked if he was trying to break up and make me do it for him. He admitted part of him feared that, but he also told me I was everything he ever wanted, and that scared him. I told him I understood because I have my own demons too. I was willing to take the risk. Since then, our relationship has grown beautifully. We take salsa classes together, exercise, cook, share goals, and really live life together. You're showing emotional maturity here, standing by someone while also asking hard questions. But it's important to remember, therapy is a process, and when someone is in the early stages, it might not be the best time to make permanent life decisions like ruling out parenthood. The baby conversation. Here's the big part. He occasionally mentioned that his anxiety came from the idea of kids. He always thought he wanted them, but his ex didn't, so he gave up that dream. After his dad died, he changed his mind and now wasn't sure anymore. For me, kids aren't negotiable. I was diagnosed with PCOS at 13 and endometriosis at 15. These conditions can cause infertility and have brought me years of hormonal struggles, depression, anxiety, and pain. At 32, I don't have the luxury of wasting time. I've always said if I couldn't have kids naturally, I'd try IVF, adoption, or even do it on my own. But being a mom has always been non-negotiable in my heart. You're being very clear here, and that's something to be proud of. When something is non-negotiable, we must honor that. Otherwise, we risk betraying ourselves to preserve a relationship that isn't truly built for us. The weekend trip. Recently, we went on a romantic getaway before his trip to Japan with his mom. Everything was wonderful. Until on the way home, he told me he had made a decision. He had talked to his mom and brother, though they didn't give him much advice, and after thinking, he decided he does not want children. He said he doesn't see them in his future and doesn't want to resent having them. But then he also said, if we were younger, and if my dad was still alive, I'd definitely want kids. This line is powerful and heartbreaking. It also suggests that his decision is being made from a place of grief, not clarity. That's a red flag, not because he's wrong, but because he's not grounded in healing yet. Decisions about parenting need to come from a healed heart, not a broken one. That broke me. To me, that means his grief is influencing his decision. I told him maybe he hasn't processed his dad's death, but he said he doesn't want to deal with that. He'd rather just decide not to have kids. We cried in the car. He admitted he feels like he's grieving the child he'll never have, and I told him, if it hurts, maybe it's because deep down you do want kids. Where we are now. Before he left, I asked him if he was in love with me. He cried and said yes, but he felt like an asshole telling me he loved me while saying he doesn't want kids. I told him I needed to hear it anyway. I love him too. We agreed to take some time and talk again before his trip. Love is not the only requirement for a lasting relationship. Alignment in core life goals, like children, is just as vital. Many people love each other deeply but are simply incompatible in this one life-defining way. My dilemma. I don't know what to do. Do I hold on and hope he changes? Do I let go now before it's too late for me? On one hand, I'm in love, and it feels like fate after everything I've been through. On the other, I don't want to waste precious years on someone who has already decided against children. Hope is a beautiful thing, but it can become a trap when we base it on someone potentially changing their core beliefs. You've been through too much already to gamble your dreams on someone else's uncertainty. But I've also been questioning myself. I've always said I want kids, but sometimes I wonder why. Is it really my dream or something society planted in me? For years, I thought creating life was the ultimate thing. But I know parenthood isn't a walk in the park. It's messy, hard, and not for everyone. And yet, if you ask anyone who knows me, they'll tell you I've always felt called to be a mom. Caring for others gives me joy and meaning. I've always dreamed of looking into my baby's eyes and giving them my all. Deep down, I think motherhood is part of who I am. It's not just something I was taught to want. That said, with my medical conditions, there's also a real chance it might not happen naturally, or at all. I've made peace with the idea that I might need IVF, adoption, or even that I might not become a mom. But that's exactly why I need a partner who is open to both possibilities, who can share the dream of kids with me, and also build a fulfilling life together if it doesn't happen. This clarity is a gift. You're not rigid, you're just certain. You've done the emotional labor to know yourself. Now the hard part is accepting that love alone can't bridge this gap if your partner's dream truly no longer includes children. So here I am, 7 months into a relationship with someone I love deeply, but who may want a fundamentally different future. Reddit, what would you do in my place? Should I give it more time? Ask yourself this. If you met this man today, and he told you on the first date, I don't want children ever, would you have gone on a second date? If the answer is no, then the kindest thing you can do, for yourself and for him, is to let go with love. Sometimes the bravest love story is the one where you choose yourself.